Hi everyone, it's Monique Jeremiah and welcome back to our session on Assessment 2 for your subject of Advanced HR Management. So today what we're going to do is we're going to go through question 8 to 14, which is the remainder of your assessment, okay? So I hope you did okay with assessment question 1 to 7, which we went through earlier. Okay, so let's go on to question number 7. One moment, please. So, question number 7 was human resource philosophies and values. So question number 8 is, what should the objectives and targets of your plan set out? What will this enable? So basically, this question, what should the objectives and targets of your plan set out and what will this enable? Is talking about what areas can be measured by the plan, okay? In terms of the targets and objectives, okay? So remember, going back to that question, we talked about elements such as recruitment, training, retention, pay and performance management, those sort of elements, okay? So now we're talking about how do we measure it. So simple one is the allocation of HR budget. So when you answer this question, discuss something about the costs involved in managing these areas, okay? How do we prioritize, okay? So again, it's like a time, it's a setting of order of how do we deal with HR. It's about how do we communicate, okay, most effectively. So how do we measure this and how do we check to see if we are doing a good job in terms of getting our targets and objectives? How do we measure success? Okay, so when you discuss this, talk about how do we measure like a quality outcome? How do we make sure that we have good staff being recruited to the organisation, and how do we make good decisions, okay? So how do we measure these kind of elements? So in your assessment, you can put these points down and just elaborate a little bit, okay, on the best way to approach them. Question number 9 is a little bit different. So question number 9, we're basically give 2 examples of the different options for the provision of human resource services. So again, it's almost like the question where we're talking about getting a contractor or a consultant or an offshore worker. But in this question, we're talking about how do we provision, okay, HR services. So a simple one could be get external help. Okay, so think about the workers that are on the outside. How do we get them? Who are they? Why do we choose them? One could be get internal help. So who are our workers that are here in the organisation in an existing sense? How do we get work done from the outside? So maybe outsourcing could be an option. And how about merging our business units? Okay, so in this question, you just need to choose maybe 2 of these and describe in detail, why 2 of these would be good options. What is the key benefits for them? Okay. Question 10 again goes back to technology. Okay, so earlier we discussed the kind of things that you would need to consider in terms of bringing in technology to people. So question number 10 is, what may technology be used to support? So what may technology be used to support. So you're just thinking about, what is the usefulness of technology in terms of HR, okay? So what kind of things would you require technology for? So for example, payroll, administration. Payroll is like paying people to do the job, dealing with the wages, that sort of thing. E-learning and training. Okay. Also like record performance management and record keeping, simple things like this. Okay, so what you should do is discuss each of these again, as I said, definition, and then just give an example of how technology is useful for each of these HR functions. Okay, perfect. Question number 11 is a little bit different. So it's asking you, what are the key ingredients of a HR strategic plan? So what is included in a HR strategic plan, basically? So you should describe what is a budget, what is priorities, okay, time frames and objectives. So these are in really simple terms, these are the 4 elements you need to mention as part of your answer, okay? So what is the significance of including these 4? And it's a pretty straight answer. Question number 12 talks about risk management, okay? So when we talk about risk management, we're talking about when we bring people into your organization or we manage them, what are the sort of risks that you may incur? So you should discuss what event, likelihood or probability of the risks occurring, the impact, okay, so what is like the level of kind of consequence, okay, so what do you expect? So describing this from risk management process. Mitigation is basically how do we reduce the issue of the risk occurring, and contingency. So how do we plan for a plan, okay? So if something goes wrong, how do we respond to it? What's our step in dealing with this issue, okay? So in your answer, I need you to describe each of these terms in terms of definition, and just give me an example again in terms of HR, okay? So maybe at the beginning, describe a common HR issue. For example, your leader is expected to retire in 6 months' time. How do we deal with this in terms of losing, say, the knowledge of the leader, or the skills and their leadership, that sort of thing, okay? So give me an example of something that's practical from a HR perspective. Question number 13. Question number 13 is, in order to see that the plan is implemented, you will need to work with others. Who will they be? So, who do we work with? So, in our sessions before, we talked about the different types of people that are in an organization. So you should just basically do a list of internal workers, okay, and external workers. Okay, and just basically list them for this question, okay? So for example, suppliers, contractors, employees, anybody that we have discussed previously that's involved in a business, in the team. So remember, employees and contractors, just break them down, okay, for this question, for question 13. That's a pretty simple one. And then question 14, lucky last one for you, is why should you monitor and review the plan, okay? So here basically you're going to just describe in simple terms what is the value of, you know, reviewing your HR plan. You know, what are you trying to achieve? What is the benefit of checking to see that you're on track? Okay, so for example, are your plans on budget and schedule? Okay. What issues exist? What can be rectified? Anything like that? Any opportunities to improve? Because remember, you're thinking from a HR perspective, okay? So looking at from completely objective, taking yourself out and looking in to your strategic HR plan. This is what this question's asking you. What actions do you need to implement for best results? Okay, so that's just a quick summary of question 14. Obviously, you might have some more ideas in terms of how do you monitor and improve continuously the plan and how it's been implemented, okay? But that's question number 14. So today we have covered question 8 to 14 of assessment number 2 for advanced HR management. So good luck, and I look forward to reading your assignments. Cheers, thank you.